clearance was purely military's domain. The dialogue was a joint effort by the civilians and the political leadership and, of course, military. The development was again spearheaded by the military and, of course, assisted by the civilian professionals. And what did we get at the end? We achieved successful, and we were able to restore writ of the government in those rest of regions. Next, please. Now you can run those snaps. These are some of the snaps of the operations. Major operations, Rah-e-Najat in South Uzbekistan, December 2000. This is the latest ongoing operation which is about to get concluded. It was launched last year in 2014. Development works in FATA. The military again is spearheading this effort. Can you run those flags? Yeah. Oh, this is how this whole developmental package is worked out. It is again under the civilian control. We have a FATA secretariat which functions under the governor of NWFP, and it includes tribal elders, the donor agencies, both local and international, and local military commanders. So they work out and shortlist the projects. The funding is given by the government, international donors, provincial and military commanders, and of course the execution is led by the military and with the expertise from the civil sector. And the monitoring of all this is done by the civil administration as well as the international donors. So in last 11 or 12 years, these are some of the things, some of the development works which were steered by the military. Now, kindly go slow, let the people absorb. These are some of the projects, our focus was road infrastructure, healthcare, education, and creating job and revival of economic activities. Since there was a degree of threat more, so military was taken to be the best agency to spearhead all these projects, whereas it was difficult for, the civilians to come because, understandably because of the added hazard that we have in rest of regions, that military was asked to perform all these functions, and which it did so. Next, please. So healthcare, clean drinking water, farming, creating job opportunities, all those packages were integrated as part of that 3D strategy, and it delivered the best part. Thank you. Road networks, over 1,200 kilometers of brand new roads, in addition to improvement and upgradation of existing roads, tunnels. These are all done by military engineers. Dams, power generation units, many of them. These are the bigger one. Now kindly move to the next part. So this is a snapshot of our journey. In 2001, we were confronted with open hostility from everybody, even from the masses, not only from the militants. It turned into hatred, then to neutrality, and here we are in 2016, drawing their unanimous and unconditional support. This, to me, is the simple definition of success. Next. Now, this part was concerning the FATA, the rest of region, and now our contributions or the integration model that we follow for the rest of the country. Okay. Next. Now, we have different organizations and departments within the military, Army, Air Force, Navy. Those are engaged in nation-building projects. These are the important ones. And the good thing is all these organizations are self-financed. They integrate well with the civilian counterparts and contribute significantly to the national exchequer. The punchline is they're self-financed. They generate their own revenue. They partake in the national development projects. They create employment opportunity for millions of people. And they are doing a tremendous work, both in the rest of the region and in the rest of the country. Next. Education. There are more than 700 schools, which includes a number of world-class universities, colleges, medical colleges, cadet colleges, schools, primary schools, technical schools, all the universities. 766 schools as of today, and 85 different colleges, and especially, and we are focusing the remote area, the border regions, not the cosmopolitan cities. And 86% of the admission goes to the civilians. We only have the administration, and the faculty or the management is the civilians. Next. Healthcare, an important function and obligation of the military. 334 healthcare facilities, again concentrating and targeting the remote areas or the border regions. And 10 million patients are dependent on these facilities. Next. Next, please. Defense production. We are trying to lower our dependence and the burden on the national exchequer. We have our own robust defense industries. Last year, they contributed about $1.5 billion to the national exchequer. So what are they doing? They're getting us, self-sufficiency in essential military needs that we have. They're exporting the stuff. So creating job opportunities, creating that acquisition of technologies, and on top of it, they're lowering the burden on our national exchequer. Next. Disaster management. I think like all other armies, we are also part and parcel of our national response to disaster management and all calamities. We have dedicated organizations. We call it National Disaster Management Authority at the apex level, which functions under the Prime Minister of Pakistan and has a serving 3-star. And under him, there are components at the provincial and district level. Next. In terms of international obligations, we, like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, we are also one of the lead contributors. We used to be number 2 last year, but today, as of today, we are, I think, the 3rd largest contributor. So it fluctuates between number 1, 2, or 3. So we are very proud of our contributions and some of the achievements. 160,000 people have already represented Pakistan in 41 different UN peacekeeping operations. 144 soldiers, including 23 officers, have sacrificed their life for global peace and security. Next. So this was the story, and it leads me to certain conclusions that I would like to share. The forum first is the dealing militancy through comprehensive national security framework. As I said earlier, and I'll reiterate again, once it comes to dealing militancy, there has to be a whole of the nation approach. Militancy is essentially a political problem. There has to be a political strategy, and the military strategy should flow out of it, not the other way around. Next, importance of defeating military's narrative. What we have seen, there's a propensity of assessing and evaluating a threat only in its physical dimension. Number of terrorists, area that they hold, the weapons that they have. And more often than not, we do not take into account their ideology, their narrative. Given a choice, based on our experience, let me tell you, both these components of the threat have to be dealt simultaneously. And if you have a choice, I think defeating their narrative should precede the application of kinetic force. This is our firm resolve. It will help you. And once I'm talking about the defeating the narrative, this is where a more closer integration between the state and the security apparatus comes in. And the state and the masses, they have to be on the same page in defeating so as to take out, oxygen of this fire. It's not about number of insurgents that you kill, or area that you clear, or the weapons that you hold. The only matrix is the public support that you're getting or losing. So it has to be a comprehensive framework in which both the components, the civilians and the military professionals, have to come together. Suitability of military in spearheading the development works. As said earlier, there are unattended consequences, hazards, and difficulties and dangers while operating in restrictive regions, especially once you're dealing with a full-blown insurgency. So by default, not by choice, military happens to be the best lead agency to spearhead all this development work. And they can deliver it. It's a disciplined organization. They have all the ingredients to make it happen. They have core of engineers, a mechanical core. It doesn't make sense to use them only in case of war, not to use them during peacetime development works, especially in case of developing countries. The last word is interoperability of military to assist other elements of national power and nation building. I think for developing economies, developing countries, it's important that we restructure our military in a way that they are able to contribute significantly for the broader national development. And they have the expertise, they are disciplined organization, there's effective monitoring. Our experience is that we did a quality work in far less the amount than our civilian counterparts. The model is that we get the expertise, the security is provided by the military. That makes an ideal combination. I guess that's all that I have to share. I'll be glad to take on the questions whenever